Hi, Jamil.
Hey, Bobby.
Thanks for coming on my podcast.
This is fun, dude.
My mini podcast.
Are the BMX folks going to watch this?
They might if we give them some info. I think a lot of BMX dudes could use a little bit more money, and a good side hustle that I've been aware of for at least 8 years now is what you do, which is wholesaling real estate.
Yeah, you could ride your bike for dollars.
Yeah, you literally could, pedaling around a neighborhood.
Go down to your neighborhood and just look for crappy looking houses, and then write down those houses, write down the addresses of those houses, and there's little software that you can use. You can get the phone number for the people who own those houses, and then you just call them and say, hey, I was riding my bike by your house and your house sucks. You want to sell it?
Yeah, exactly. So for people who don't know what wholesaling is, because I didn't when I first started working with you guys, it took me, I don't know, a week or two to actually understand what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Explain like I'm 5. Like explain to, Jerice how to get started in wholesaling.
Well, Jerice is not 5, by the way. Jerice is awesome. But,
yeah.
No, it's real simple, right? Wholesaling is first the easiest way to do real estate.
Why?
We look for ugly houses and we put those houses under contract. So like we write an offer to buy that ugly house. Now you're probably like, I don't have the money to buy that house. You don't need the money to buy that house. That's not the point.
Okay.
So you're going to just find the ugly house. You're going to put the house under contract, and then you're going to sell that contract to somebody who wants to buy the ugly house. Because there's all these people in the world who want to fix these ugly houses up.
Yep.
And they don't have the time to go out and find the ugly house because they're in the world
They're
renovating
too busy
houses.
fixing
They're
and
too busy
flipping,
fixing and flipping houses. So they need people that are like me to go out and find ugly houses for them.
Yeah.
And I've made millions of dollars finding these ugly houses. The key piece of knowledge that you need is to know how much to pay for the ugly house. And that's where the education part gets involved, right? You got to understand, how much do I have to buy this house for in order for somebody to want to buy it from me?
Yeah. And leave room to make your they call
profit.
assignment fee.
Yeah. Or your wholesale fee.
Yeah.
And then enough profit or enough room for the person you sell it to fix the house and make a profit themselves. So of course, when you're buying these ugly houses, nobody's expecting that you're going to give them the Taj Mahal value for it, right? Like this house that I'm in right now, this was a wholesale house. This was an ugly ass house, right? It was, their crackheads used to poo in this room.
No shit.
Yeah.
Literally. Actually,
literally used to poo in this room. They brought a barbecue in here. They used to barbecue inside in here. They used to poo right here, bro. Like
fun.
They pooed right
literally
here.
Right here.
And so this was a wholesale deal. I actually paid a $75,000 assignment fee to the person who sold me this contract.
Boom.
And what did I do? I knocked down most of the house. I got rid of the poo, fixed up, rebuilt a brand new home, and now I live in it.
Boom.
Yeah.
So just to and when you explain shit, I'm constantly thinking like, okay, how do I do this? And from what I understand, I would first, in today's market, let's talk about like 2 years ago, direct to seller or reaching out to agents was probably the best route. Reaching out to agents is still probably a good route, but like literally what would I do on my first day of like saying, okay, I'm going to try and become a real estate investor. Okay, step 1, I got to find an ugly house and negotiate a contract with that person. So first step is finding it. Yeah.
I would say finding it. Yeah. But here's the thing, right? It's going to take you time to like learn all of the contracts, the terms, what everything means. Right. So what I would say is don't try to attempt to do this by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the biggest mistake, because I think somebody who's brand new, they're going to get in it. They're going to get overwhelmed. They may find somebody, they might call someone and say, hey, do you want to sell your house? And that person says yes. And now they're like, what do I do?
Yeah, for real. That's how I feel. If I started to actually get a deal going, I'd be like freaking out. Like, okay, what do I say next? I'm too used to hearing no's.
Right.
So what do you mean by working with somebody? Who would I work with?
Well, you could work with, so I started a company called KeyGlee, and it's a nationally franchised wholesale company now. So we help people all across the country negotiate their contracts and put their deals under contract. And we even put up the earnest deposit. Like we take care of you from start to finish. So
let's talk about the start part of that. So if I'm calling either agents or like it's hard to. So in an example where I'm on the phone with somebody trying to buy their house, KeyGlee or the franchise of KeyGlee will coach me on what my maximum offer can be.
Yeah, they'll tell you exactly
That's
how much
so
you
crazy.
can pay.
Like that's a lot of effort, considering it might not come in return. You know?
Yeah,
like,
of course. I mean,
dope.
that's the world we're in, right? Like, you got to serve people, and so we might give out 100 buy prices and only do 5 deals.
But you keep doing it, and you don't charge for the buy prices. You're just building relationships with wholesalers. Like, that's interesting.
Because once you get really good at it, you're going to require less and less hand holding, but you're going to remember who helped you in the beginning, and you're going to have a loyalty to that company and want to do business with us as long as we continue to serve you well.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole reality of what we do. Like, we're a service-based company, and our job is to provide whoever is getting into wholesale information and then assistance. And after that, I mean, finding a buyer and doing all that, none of that has to be anybody's. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah. So finding a buyer is the person, in other words, a fix and flipper.
Correct.
They're called the buyer because they're buying your contract from you. And that, just to clear up, if anybody was wondering what a buyer is in that situation. So I got homies in BMX all over the country. What comes to mind right off the bat is Texas, Austin, Texas. And so if I have, shout out Trent, if Trent wanted to get into this and he's in Austin, Texas, who does he reach out to get started and get help in Texas?
I've actually got 2 franchises in Texas. I've got a corporate store in Texas and 2 franchises in Texas.
That's sick.
The best way for Trent, shout out, bro, would be to DM me on IG or, and I could send him phone numbers.
Okay.
Because, Jeff Houlihan is my general manager in Texas. Then I've got a franchise. Fred Gamble's the owner of one of them.
Love Fred.
Philip Villegas is another owner in Austin, Texas. So these guys they're trained professionals. They want to help. They're very, very good, nice people.
Yeah, they are.
And their intention is to help you do business.
How big is Fred's team and Jeff's team? Like, how big has those KeyGlee franchises gotten? Just curious.
So actually, Fred Gamble's team has grown a lot. So he came in and he started off with 1 franchise. He now owns 3, I believe.
That's dope.
So that's a really good sign when you have a franchise owner come in and purchase a franchise and then do well enough to want to buy a second one, and then do well enough to buy a third one.
Yeah.
And his goal is to take over all of Texas.
Dope.
And so, Fred, big shout outs to Fred. A lot of love for him and his team. He keeps a very lean team. It's his family.
Nice.
Right. So he's got his wife involved, his son Chris, and they really just they probably got a few other staff that I don't know, but they really service everybody like a family business. And I think about that, and that's probably a good reason why they're super successful, because everybody is bought in.
Yeah.
One of the things that's hard on a business owner is oftentimes your employees don't love your company the way you love your company, right?
Yeah. But if they're family,
but your family will.
Yeah.
And for me, my dad had a truck stop growing up my whole life, right? And I used to go and ride my bike. Speaking of bikes, I used to ride my BMX bike and my dad's. You guys would have loved that.
Do you remember what kind of BMX bike?
Was it called a Black Panther?
Black Panther. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't have, because I got it from like in Canada we have this store called Zellers, which would probably be equivalent to like Walmart here. Yeah. So it's like a Walmart BMX bike. Yeah. So I don't know that can you call those BMX bikes?
Walmart technically, yeah. I think BMX just stands for bicycle motocross, but it really is just 20-inch wheels. That's what makes a BMX bike.
It was a BMX, and it had the right shape, and all the things.
We got dog chaos. Hold on.
let's get the dogs out. Hey, guys, come on. Go outside. Wow.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, so BMX just means a 20-inch bike, and it can be pretty much, there's a wide range of what BMX is. But you had a Black Panther, and you were riding around, and your father had a...
Yeah, he had a truck stop. And I'd ride my bike there. There was ramps and all these like cool things, because it was like an industrial park. Mm-hmm. So all the businesses there were just like industrial warehouses, and they all had like
spots,
like shipping ramps, and like, you know, because big trucks would come and load up all their wares there, right? So it was really neat things. Like I never launched off any of the ramps, but my cousin used to.
Sick.
And I used to like be envious that he could do cool stuff like that.
Did you ever learn how to bunny hop?
No. I think that the most adventurous I ever got on a BMX bike was like standing on the pegs.
Nice. Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's about it.
The homie hoppers.
Yeah.
Did you have 2 pegs on the back wheel?
Yeah.
And that's how you have to do it when you're a kid. I remember that.
Yeah.
Dude, I would bring girls from middle school and we'd pedal them to the basketball court and they'd be on my pegs on the back. And then once we get there, I'm like, if I make this shot, I get a kiss on the cheek. I'm like,
damn.
You know, I was big pimping. That's
Hot
how we
Bobby,
do it.
getting it done in his younger days.
So let's get back to the ability to how long do you think it would take for Trent, for example? He connects with, you know, Fred in this situation, says, Fred, hey, I don't know much about this industry, but I want to help and I want to learn. What can I do for you? Well, I just saw something the other day. Alex Hormozy posted a video saying, if you want to get in contact with somebody who's, you know, high value or, you know, that type of shit, don't ask them what you can do for them, because that's putting homework on them. Like you do the brain power of figuring out what value you can provide to them.
Yeah. So the value that this person provides, it says, hey, I have a house. I've already got this person's phone number, and the software where you would find that person's phone number is Batchelits.
Okay.
You go to batchelits.io/Jamil. You can skip trace there. So you put the address in, it'll shoot out a phone number.
What is skip tracing?
That's like what detectives and credit card companies and creditors and collection agencies use to track people down who don't pay their bills.
Okay. So just getting info. And how much is batchelits.io/Jamil?
I think it's like 10 cents or 15 cents for a phone number, like per record or
and
whatever.
So if you're a beginner, you don't need to drop in and spend $100 to start. You can just spend
you get like
$10.
You can spend $10. Like if you went out for a day and like say you collected a list of 50 houses.
Okay.
50 ugly houses. I'm sure if you ran around all day long, you could get more than that. But let's just say you got a list of 50 houses and you went home, sat down, and you inputted each one of those addresses and you got all those people's phone numbers. Some of them are going to be right. Some of the numbers are going to be wrong. But let's just say 40% of the numbers are right. Okay. So now you've got 20 out of the 50 that want to actually talk to you. Yeah. Right. So those 20 people that will not want to talk to you, but you have a correct phone number for, 2 out of the 20 might say, yeah, I'm interested. What do you got? Okay. Or, you know, what would you offer?
Yeah.
And then
what's my line when I'm calling those 2 people?
It's like, hey,
when I'm calling any of them.
Hey, I'm a real estate investor. I was just riding by your house, or whatever you want to say. I'm a real estate investor. I was passing by your house and I saw that your house looks like it could use a little love. Not trying to be rude or anything, but what's your plan with that house? Do you live there? Are you fixing it up? Do you have any plans? Are you open to a cash offer? Because that's what I do. I buy houses in conditions that require some maintenance, and I would be happy to help you out.
What do you think would happen? Because that's a big piece that I think a lot of beginners have, is when do you start calling yourself a real estate investor? And
I think the moment that you start actually putting time into this, you can call yourself a real estate investor. I think the fact is a lot of people think that investing means putting in money, but an investment is time.
Yeah, true.
It's not just money, right? Yep. Like it's time. And if you don't, and that's one of the most like biggest misconceptions for people is that they get so scared to call themselves an investor, and they'll have spent 100 hours or more learning about this and working at this. And then they still feel like, you know, imposters calling themselves investors. And I feel like, well, what do you value your time at? Yeah. Right. Cause if I had you come and work for me for 40 hours, okay, it's a week of work. Yeah. Would you do it for free?
Yeah, no, your time is worth something. So
you wouldn't, right? You charge at bare minimum, you're going to charge me $20 an hour. Yeah. Right. So why wouldn't you invest in that in yourself? And if you've invested that time into yourself, then are you not a real estate investor?
Yeah, you are, huh? I get hung up on it. And even in the hypothetical situation, I'm like, how could I do it without saying the words, you know, I'm a real estate investor? I would say like, my line would be like, hey, I want to get into real estate investing, but then I think that might turn them off because they're like, oh, this guy doesn't know shit. Well, they may think you're not serious, but at the same time, I also love just straight up being transparent. Yeah. So that's my reasoning on why I think people can call themselves an investor, but you don't have to.
You can say, hey, I work with some investors that want to buy houses like this. Are you interested in a cash offer?
Okay.
That's it.
So this is all the part where you're like Trent, you're going to do this without reaching out for help. And once you get a conversation with either a seller or an agent, let's not complicate it. Just get talking to a seller, meaning the owner of the house who is open to a cash offer. That's when you say to that seller, let me send me some, or what do you do to delay it so that you can go talk to Fred?
Well, so as soon as I hear that they said, yeah, I'd be open to an offer. Great. Have you done any renovations in the house lately? And just write down what they say and then say, fantastic. Give me about 30 minutes. I'm going to go talk with the people that I work with and I'll call you back with a number.
I'm curious because like I've heard, it's a turn off to hear somebody say, I'm going to go talk to my partner, or I'm going to go, but I like that. I'm going to go talk to the people that I work with, and then I'll come back and I'll have an offer for you. And then they'll say, great, cool. And then that's when you reach out to Fred Gamble of KeyGlee and you say, hi, my name's Trent. I have a potential deal. And what do you say to Fred?
Just say, hey, Fred, here's an address. Jamil told me to call you. I have an address for a house in Austin.
You name drop Jamil. That's how you do it. Okay.
And the homeowner is interested in a cash offer. Tell me what that number needs to be.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Fred will run the numbers and he'll say, offer them $500,000.
Right.
And then you call that person and say, okay, so I talked to my associates and they think that they could offer you $500,000.
Yeah. And dude, and I know that you coach people who do this virtually, so they're literally overseas and they're wholesaling.
Dude, I have a guy who's in like Johannesburg that's made hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So
I got like dozens of people in Israel that are calling America during our business hours, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. People in Canada calling America, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this isn't something that you have to be local in the city that you're calling.
Right.
You might live in the sticks somewhere where real estate investment really isn't something that's going on. Like say you live in, a rural part of America and there's like one house every 10 minutes.
That's not a place
that real estate investors are going to buy.
Yeah.
Real estate investors buy in metro cities. They buy where there's people, right?
Yep. And competition.
Yeah. And it's just because our as a real estate investor, when you're renovating a house to sell it, you need to have a buyer who wants to buy it.
Right.
Right. Or
otherwise, let's talk about, briefly, the reason that I brought up the virtual thing is because, BMX dudes like Trent, he's a good looking kid, but he's, messy hair and looks like a BMXer. So like the appearance of yourself doesn't matter. There's no barriers. There's no reason. I mean, you got to look like you got yourself together if you have an in-person meeting, but you can do this business without going face to face.
I will say this without feeling bad. I think wholesalers are the ugliest.
Yes.
No, it has nothing to do with how you look, honestly. Like I think we get so caught up in appearance. Like you're on the telephone, nobody knows how you look. You just got to sound nice and
relatively professional. Yeah.
Nice
There's people out there. I know one of your students has face tattoos and he's crushing it. Yeah.
And homie did time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's got face tattoos because dude was in jail for like 7 years.
So ugly houses, ugly people. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like it hasn't stopped him. Yeah. In fact, he's a phenomenal human being, but you have a hard time being employed out there.
Right.
Right. So this was a great opportunity for him because he's like, well, shoot, I can't go get a job. Nobody wants to hire me. I have a felony.
Yeah.
But as a business owner, I don't have to ask or show anybody my criminal record or talk about what I've done in the past. Everybody has the right to a second chance. You have the right to a third chance. You have the right to a fourth, fifth, 10th chance.
Yeah.
We're human beings. If you're still alive, you have the right to a chance.
Yeah.
That's it.
People change, dude. Physically every 7 years, supposedly.
You're a brand new person.
Literally every cell in your body is different, but I'm a big believer in that. I have a couple of friends who went to prison and came back out and they're completely changed and positive. Sometimes they're better than people who've never been to prison, because they have perspective.
It is. It's perspective, and also pain really, and hard times really evolve human beings, right? Like the guys who have it the easiest and the cushy life without any problems and never having to do anything hard, that doesn't really stretch you. It doesn't make you do harder work. It doesn't push you to do things that maybe uncomfortable that'll help you grow. Because nothing that causes growth is comfortable.
Right. Exactly.
At all.
Yeah.
Right.
Change is uncomfortable.
It's just, so if you're broke right now, understand that getting to a different spot is going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
If you're rich, becoming broke is going to be
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Anything that you're going to do that's going to take you from one lily pad to another is going to be uncomfortable. But trust me, the next lily pad is fun.
Yeah.
And you can look at life as like, I want to get to that lily pad, and I know I'm going to go through uncomfort to get to that lily pad, but then I'm going to be comfortable and hang out for a little while until I want to get uncomfortable again.
Yeah, that's huge.
And you just keep doing that. You know?
I love that. Let's pause here and check that the audio is okay on this. I fucking hope it's doing good. We just went 25 minutes. All right, we're good. The audio's fine. I was being paranoid. I know you have to hop on a call. Oh, actually, we got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I want to, give this as give it for BMX riders who are young and don't see an option for, a side hustle or something that they can do here and there. How much time do you think, for example, I work for you full time. How many hours a day would I have to set aside, and how long do you think it would take me to get a deal?
Listen, everybody has the time to write down the addresses of 5 ugly houses a day.
Yeah.
Because that takes no time. I can walk up and down the street up here, or drive up or ride up and down the street here, and in 10 minutes, I'll have 5 addresses. Okay, so let's talk about the time. But real quick, talking about ugly houses, what makes a house ugly besides just generally knowing like, oh, that's kind of ugly house, but that doesn't necessarily mean I understand. So it's not a subjective thing, right? Because like you might look at a house and be like, that's ugly, but it's not, right? Yeah. What I mean by an ugly house is like overgrown weeds, the house is breaking down, there's a broken window, tinfoil in the window. It looks like there's people smoking crack inside. Like it's just gnarly, like sketch houses, like sketchy
plants
houses,
overgrown, maybe
mail piling up.
Okay, yeah,
that's you're gonna see a lot of like maybe holes in the roof. Yeah. You might see some like fire damage or things like that. It's just this gnarly houses that you would like walk by and be like, dang, what's going on here? And I would say like to somebody who's going to go start doing this, and we're this method is driving for dollars, going out physically and looking. You can also do it virtually on Batch, right? Yep. You can just like the same way that we look for spots, you can just go on Google Maps and zoom in and look at these houses and see. That's how you guys figure out where you want to go ride before you go ride? A lot of times. Like we'll explore a new area on Google Maps, do the little thing where you drop the guy and you can look around, and then if you see a cool stair set or a rail or something like that. That's cool. Yeah, a lot of times we'll watch a skate video or a BMX video and then see a dope spot and there's some sign in the background. Like, so you guys are like riding for rails. We riding for rails, driving for dollars, riding for rails. Yeah. Yeah, you're driving for staircases. So in this example, BMX homies pedaling around, driving around, make a list of 5 ugly houses, right? That's what you said? You did 5 a day, dude. Okay. And then you did 5 a day. If you called 5 people a day, just a side hustle, it took you 20 minutes. Yeah. Take you no time to do that. Okay. And then I would say that in about 2 or 3 months, you'd have a deal. And that deal would net you $15,000-$20,000. Yeah, and we're skipping a couple steps here, right? But I love that. So after you have identified 5 houses, the next step is call those 5 people. Call those 5 people. Skip trace those numbers. Okay. At batchelits.io/Jamil. Okay. And then is there a way to skip trace for free? Just truepeoplesearch.com. Truepeoplesearch.com. Interesting, but it's not as accurate. Okay, that's what but if you don't even want to spend the 15 cents, go to truepeoplesearch.com. Okay, got you. So you do a little bit of detective work and figure out, how to get in contact with the owner of the house. You call them and you say, I think we just did it, 10 minutes ago, right? Where, hi, I'm a real estate investor and what's my next line? I was walking by your house here. I saw that it looked like it needed a little love. It's a great house, but just wondering what your plan is with it. Are you planning to sell it? Are you keeping it as a rental? I'm only calling that works and asking, better than being direct? Yeah, like just asking them, what are your plans with it, rather than just saying, "Hi, will you take a cash offer?" Just you could go at it and be really direct. Everybody's got their own style. Yeah, I don't think that it's necessarily important that you be someone who you're not, right? Just if you're a direct person, get direct. Be like, hey, rode by your house, saw it, sucks. Can I buy it? You know, if that's how you talk like that. Yeah, you may not get as many people that will respond to you in a positive way, but you're gonna get some people who talk
the
like
ones
that.
who do connect
the ones
with
who
you
do, they're gonna be like,
yeah.
I love this piece of shit. Yeah, I do want to sell it, motherfucker. What do you give me for it?
Yeah, for real.
You know.
So now we're on the phone. Hey, what are your plans with this property, or however you want to word it? Just figure out if they're interested or open to a cash offer. And I think that's the advantage when they're like, well, I could just go sell it on the MLS, but
well, you can't. Like you can and you can't. Those really trashy houses, they can't get loans on them. So that's the thing, right? You know, people.
Why not? Why can't you get a loan on
a mortgage company won't finance that. Your house has to be in pretty great condition in order for a lender to want to put a loan on your house.
Okay.
So that's the reason why a lot of these houses aren't financeable.
Yeah.
So they have to be bought by a cash buyer.
Interesting.
And that's where our value is.
Yeah. And the other value is, I've heard you say it 1,000 times, like I close fast and I can make it easy for whoever's there to get out. Like you can leave all your shit. We'll take care of all the stuff.
Trash. I'll even inherit crackheads. Like you got a couple crackheads that are living in your house right now. I'll take care of the crackheads. No problem. You know, I've inherited animals that have inherited crackheads. Gosh, I mean, I inherited a house that was filled with poo.
Did I get to see that one? Did I come with you to the poop house?
Did you?
I don't know. I remember one hoarder house with you and Pace. We made a YouTube video of the hoarder house.
That one was the cop's house.
Yeah, weird ass hoarding cop. Dude.
That was just really sad because you always think like an officer of the law has his stuff together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when we saw that day, it was like, man, this guy has he had bottles and bottles and bottles of Oxy. Yeah, all over the place. It's like this guy's a drug addict and a cop and a hoarder. Dude. Messy, you know. So like these cops, some of these guys they go through it too. They're just human beings.
They really are. Yeah,
you know?
It's easy to dehumanize police people. But
no, they're and look, thank you for your service for all the good ones out there. Yeah, and for the ones who aren't so good, whatever.
Fuck you. Fuck you, bad ones. The bad ones are bad.
Your day will come. But I personally, you know, I grew up in a way where I was always like ops. They were the ops for me growing up because I grew up on that side of the tracks. But as I've become a grown man, I realized, wow, if somebody broke into my house, who am I going to call? Yeah. Right? I'm going to call the cops. Yep. I'm not going to shoot them. Yeah, I'm not trying to go to jail because you decided to break into my house today. No, I'm going to call the police. That's how I'm going to deal with it, right? Yeah. My mom gets mugged. I can call the police. You know, I'm not going to go out there with a militia and try to kill people. That's not how it works. Yeah. You call the police. So police, they do a phenomenal job protecting the public. That they do. Now, there's a lot of other social problems and all kinds of things that I think that we can deal with, but this isn't a podcast about that. So. Yeah, facts. Let's talk about, just so people can relate, because I think with the point where you're at now, you know, you're an established nationwide business owner and you've done over 6,000 wholesale deals and you're teaching. Yeah, right? That is crazy. 6,000 is a lot. And you're teaching, you know, thousands of students in your course, which is called Astro Flipping. And it's a mentorship and a community. I think the biggest benefit is you get to tap in and work with all these people who are they have skin in the game and they want everybody to succeed, so they all work together. Right. I've got some folks that have come in and, you know, you've met them too. These guys are just, you would see them and you would think, man, there's no way that this guy is making $250,000, you know, $300,000, $400,000, $600,000 a year. Yeah, just simple people. The Gross Bros last night. I mean, nice ass guys, right? Like just beautiful guys, right? They're just young kids, cats, honestly. Young cats. I don't even know how old they are. With just grit, you know, and they do the work every day. They make the calls. They do a great job, and they're already $300K in, and it's for 2023. 2023. It's March. $300,000 in 3 months, you know. I mean, just what would $100,000 in a month do for your life right now? Just think about for that. Real. And what would $100,000 in a year do for your life right now? Yes, BMX homies and are living off of, you know, $20 a day on a trip per diem. It's a lifestyle thing. Like you get to a level where you're a pro, you're getting a small paycheck every month, but the perk is you get to live the life. You get free travel, free bike parts, and your food's taken care of. So you're just experiencing the world, and it's living the dream. It's fucking awesome. I think it is awesome, but that doesn't stop you from a side hustle. Exactly. Yeah. So that's what I want people to open their eyes to in the BMX world is you put a little bit of effort into trying to wholesale a house and get the deal done. I think once you get one deal done, you see the curtains part and you see, oh shit, proof of concept, this can work. And then
keep monkey press button, monkey get treat.
That's it. Just do the same thing over again. It's like, you just said it the best, but it's like, they've trained these monkeys in labs, right? Where they're like, okay, the monkey presses the button, and it gets the treat. And it just knows I'm going to keep pressing this button. Don't press other buttons. Just keep pressing that button. That button will give you a treat. And it'll give you a treat a few times a year. Yeah. You just called 5 people a day. Maybe you do 3 deals in a year. The average assignment fee in America is $15,000. 3 deals a year is $45,000. Then you got your $20 a day per diem. You're a rock star.
Yeah, for real.
With that kind of an income, you're gonna get all the BMX honeys.
Yeah,
because you can actually pay for dinner.
Honeys,
you can like take them out and be like, want to go to the movies? I'll buy the popcorn.
Yeah, I'll buy this round of drinks.
I'll buy the tickets and the popcorn, because I know some of you guys. I know some of you guys got this. You're like, hey, want to go to a movie? It's Tuesday, so you're like, want to go to a movie? Yeah. It's a $5 ticket on Tuesday. But you're like, I'll get the tickets and you get the popcorn. The tickets are like $10. The popcorn is like 80, right? The popcorn in the movie is where they get you. Yep. So if you want to be a stud and you want to take a chick out to a movie, you got to buy the popcorn, meaning that go wholesale like 3 houses a year and buy the popcorn.
Yes. I love that idea. I should be fucking doing this in my off time. Anyway, I have tons of excuses. It's not excuses. I work for you. That's very consuming. I do this podcast that's also consuming, and then I'm working on Mediocre at Best too, which is a full-length video.
You've got a lot going on. Not to mention
Jessica, long distance girlfriend,
who is awesome. And so I mean, you're in a good spot in your life, and you make good money.
Yeah, I'm happy.
So it's not like it's like you need the side hustle. But if you ever did, like if whatever, one day you're like, Jamil, sorry, you got BO, I gotta leave. Right?
You stink, bro.
Or just say, hey, if you decided you wanted to do something else in life, cool, right? You've learned a skill. Yeah. Right? You've learned a skill, and you've got a nationwide community and distribution network to sell your houses to.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even need to be in this country. You could drop your ass anywhere. Right now, Michelle Garabito and Paul Nelson, they're 2 of my students. They're in Thailand right now. They have it set up where they've hired somebody at like $20 an hour to make phone calls for them.
Nice.
And so this person spends all day making calls.
And they trained that person.
And they hired that person. So that person has a job. That person's not the business owner. Right. That person's just finding out if people want to sell their homes. And they make a substantial amount of money. I mean, they made $600,000 last year traveling the world.
Pretty good year.
Pretty great year. $600,000 traveling the world. They are not even like, they do some work on their own, but they have installed people in places so that they've got time to go out and go to like I was looking at Michelle's Instagram today. They visited 3 temples yesterday. Yeah. And she made money. She did a deal. So like
it's incredible. And I've hung out with them and I've seen like it's not a wake up and work until you go to sleep type thing. Maybe at the beginning if you get obsessed and this can consume your whole life. I know for those of you BMX boys, you guys know Sauce from California, Sauce the Boss. He grinded. He did exactly what you're talking about. He didn't do it alone. He started actually making videos for a guy, Mark, in California, and then was making videos, doing a side hustle for him, and saw what Mark was doing, which is wholesaling and just reaching out to people. And Sauce said, "Fuck this! I'm gonna start making. I'm doing what you're doing." It's like that scene of Wolf of Wall Street. You show me a check for $75,000, I quit my job right now and I work for you, type shit. And he grinded for, I think 5 or 6 months, nothing. And then his first deal, he got split a $70K assignment and made $35,000 on one deal. And I was like, holy shit, good for you. What's he doing now?
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Still like, doing it.
This is the ultimate lifestyle hack, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right, because think about this. Right, we spend so much of our day doing stuff for other people, like you. I mean, not saying that working with me is crappy, right? Because you get to be creative and do a lot of things, and I don't bug you, and like you got a good situation. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people have shitty bosses. They go to a shitty job. They get treated like shit with shitty customers, and they don't believe in what they're doing. They're not adding any value to the world, right? And so if that's your situation right now, where you're trading 8 hours of your day for something you could care less about, or that actually bothers you and triggers you and makes you feel bad every day, right? If that's what you're doing right now, think about the fact that that's 8 hours and you slept 8 hours. So 16 hours of your day, so 8 hours you're dead. 8 hours you're dead.
Yeah.
And then the other time you're eating and shitting.
Yeah.
Like, where's the joy?
For real.
Where is the joy in your life? And then you're going to die one day.
Yeah.
Right? And then you do all that and you die.
Yeah.
And it's like, what was the point? Because we don't get to do this again.
For real.
You don't get to hit reset.
Yeah.
Right? There's like video games. You don't have the reset button.
No second life.
There's no second life.
Yeah.
You're just like, this is it one time, man.
It's one time.
And so I can't imagine a life for me where I woke up every day and I was somebody's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why even the way I run the company, it's not, nobody, like everybody has like things that they got to do, myself included. But even I'm responsible to you guys to get the work that I'm supposed to get done in order for you guys to do what you need to do.
Right.
Right. So like we all have responsibilities to each other, but nobody's hounding anybody. Right. Nobody feels like they're beholden to someone else.
Right.
And so like I like that. And I set myself up and I run the organization in that way because that's how I would like to live. Mm-hmm. That's how I think you can be most productive because you love what you do. And if you love what you do, you'll do a better job of it. Even if you're not spending the full 8 hours doing it, even if you only put in 5 or 6 hours one day or less for even that matter, that 4 hours or whatever I'd get from you would be such high quality work that it would be worth,
I 100%
like
agree.
a 10-hour day, So that it's just, that's how I see life. Why would you want to trade an entire day for something that you don't care about? And then and people do that for 40 years, man.
Yeah. I think it's because they're scared and the comfort. People that I've known in the past, they're addicted to having, something stable, like a 40K a year job where you clock in and you clock out and then you can pursue your shit on the side, which, if that is you right now, then, cause like especially in BMX, a lot of the, more famous riders are working jobs and then riding hard when they can, right. Denham Cox in California, he works, I don't know exactly what he does, but he busts his ass, works, more than 50 hours a week. And then every once in a while he goes on a trip and he fucking slays it. He rides really hard and kills it. But it's so cool to think about, like, if this video shows people the world of wholesale real estate and I can get some BMX boys to go out and just, put in a little bit of effort, find a house that is dog shit and connect with somebody who's doing this already and get yourself a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 check. I would be so stoked, man. And it would be super cool. And I think it would be a proof of concept for others to say, hey, this is like something I can do. Yeah. And I don't need to know it all. I don't need to spend any money. I don't need to make this my full-time thing. Like, even if you got a full-time job right now and you're riding and you still got the 5 minutes a day to make the 5 calls. Like none of that is it's not gonna change your life to do that little work, but that little work could change your life. Yeah. Ooh, I like that. And then at the end of that, you're like, whoa. Cause I remember the first time I got a $50,000 check. Like I was really lucky because the first time I walked by a house that was for rent, and I called on the sign, I asked the lady, hey, I saw that your house is for rent, but would you sell it instead? And her answer was, yeah, for the right number. And I said, what was the number? She said, $350,000. Now, I didn't have buyers, but I knew people who would buy, right? So I ran and asked them, hey, what would you guys pay? And they said $400,000. So I figured out how to wholesale on my own, right? Yeah. But my first deal was a $50,000 check. For a guy who grew up the way that I grew up, where money was always tight, there was never anything extra. For me to have a $50,000 check in my wallet, I actually carried it around in my wallet for months. I would too, dude.
People were like, "Hey, you got to cash that thing. It's gonna go stale in 6 months. Like, you got to cash it." Yeah. But like, I literally was scared to cash it because I just was like, "Man, this is a game changer for me. Like this kind of money," and it did. It changed my entire life. Look at me now, right? Like my whole situation is different.
Off to the races.
I haven't clocked in on a job since that day. Yeah. Like I've never had a job again. Yeah. Since that day.
It's fucking awesome.
And and that was over 20 years ago.
What did you do with that 50K?
I bought a GMC Jimmy.
GMC Jimmy.
Yeah.
A car.
It's like a car.
Yeah. Truck.
I got a little truck. I gave my Honda Civic to my girlfriend. Ooh. At the time.
Big pimpin'.
Yep. Yeah. She
babe.
She needed a vehicle. So I gave her my Honda. I bought a GMC Jimmy.
And how much was the GMC Jimmy?
$15,000.
15. Okay, so we got 35 to go.
Yeah, and I left the rest in my bank.
Nice.
paid rent and little bills and whatnot, bought some weed, and kept going. And for me, I used to call the classifieds in the newspaper, because this is like, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So I'm calling the classifieds in the newspaper, because that's, people used to actually read newspapers then, and that's where people would list rentals. So I would call on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th of the month, and I would just say, hey, you have a house for rent, would you sell it instead?
Interesting. Did that work out?
Every time, dude.
What?
Like, yeah, it worked. Every month I would do a deal.
Hell yeah.
Every month I would do a deal. And you guys could do that right now on Zillow. You could go to Zillow, see all the houses for rent, and on the 5th of the month, just call everybody who has a house for rent. Because guess what? They ain't renting that house for the entire month. That house is going to sit vacant the whole flipping month. Now this landlord has a mortgage payment to pay. They've got this to do, blah, blah, blah. It's vacant. People can break in and wreck the house. It just becomes a liability for them. Call them up.
That's interesting. Are these ugly houses? No, because they're listed for rent on Zillow.
They don't have to be ugly, but if they look like your grandma's house.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the other
old,
thing. Yeah, old. Like,
dated.
Yeah, because if you look at this house, it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
So this is what we make.
Right.
But
this
house,
is the end product.
This is the end product.
Yeah.
But this house was like dated, right? Like it had like old tile and an old kitchen and old bathrooms, and a crackhead making a poo in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on those examples, well, your first deal example where you walked past, you had, if I remember, because you've told this story before, before you walked past that for rent sign and called them, you knew people who were like, you overheard a conversation or something?
Yeah, I overheard people looking for houses.
Okay.
They wanted to bulldoze houses like that house.
Okay.
So I knew there was a market for that kind of house.
Right.
Which made me call, which gave me the idea, I should call to see if she wants to sell.
Okay.
That seed would have never been planted in my mind to call to find out if this person was interested in selling had I not overheard that conversation.
Yeah.
So that planted the seed in my brain that then grew into what's now KeyGlee.
And then you asked her the price. You said, what?
Yeah, what would you want to sell it for?
And then she said
$350,000. And she had a number.
Wow. And then she had a really low number. Like she could.
Well, at the time, it wasn't low.
Yeah, I guess, huh?
It was
different.
Early 2000s.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the developer who bought the house from me, he was willing to pay $400,000.
Boom.
Because they were knocking down these old bungalows and then they were making duplexes out of them. And they were selling each side of that duplex for like $800,000.
Okay.
So there was a good profit margin in there for
nice.
me. Yeah.
That's interesting. So yeah, I guess just to recap, wholesaling real estate is basically middlemanning. It's if you want to put it that way. Yeah. And there's a lot of the objection I hear is like, well, you're just brokering, and it's like,
no, because you're gonna be on the contract, right? And when you're on the contract, that puts you in the deal. A broker's not in the deal. A broker is the person saying, hey, you're in the deal, meet each other.
And then how does it, like, if I wanted to be a broker, what even is that? License. You have to have a license.
2 weeks of school.
And you just connect two people. That's a whole different ballgame than wholesale.
Yeah, but now you're a realtor, right? And you can do that. You could be a realtor.
Yeah.
Realtors also do that. They connect people.
Yeah.
But I am not against people becoming realtors. It's just like this is now you're talking about somebody going to school for 2 weeks, because it only takes 2 weeks to become a realtor.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
And
the shit that you learn, I hear that you never use it.
No, you don't.
It's just learning all the rules and regulations.
Learning the rules. Basically it's like 2 weeks of this is what you do, this is what you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Like do this and you'll go to jail. Do this and you go to jail.
But they don't tell you what to do.
They don't tell you what to do. They just tell you what not to do.
Okay, go ahead, go sell a house. Yeah. It's like, what? How do I even start doing that? So I think wholesaling is a more attractive opportunity than becoming a traditional real estate agent.
I 100% agree.
In my opinion. But I could see myself eventually getting licensed just for the fuck of it, because I think if you're a licensed agent, you can just never do anything, and if you send a referral to another agent, you get to actually get a percentage of that deal. Is that right?
Yeah, you could. As a licensed agent, you can do everything now, right? So you can only buy and sell contracts as a wholesaler. As a licensed agent, I can connect the dots on people. I can refer people. There's so many options available to me because now I'm licensed to take commissions.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So there's so many different ways that I can connect the dots to earn money. I can even rent out a house for somebody and earn a commission as a licensed agent.
Ah, so that's why, because I was always wondered why agents would help somebody try and find renters.
Yeah, they get the entirety of the I don't know. I can't remember what the commission is, but it might be the entire first month.
Dope. It's not too bad.
Not
of a
too
deal.
bad. You know, if you got, I mean, rent's expensive these days, right?
Yeah.
And $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $8,000, depending on how you live.
Right.
I mean, that could be a good check for someone to write up a lease. No problem.
Yeah, no big deal. So recap. Wholesaling is middlemaning, but you have what we call equitable interest. That's a term that kind of like throws people off, but it just means that
You have
you're
the contract.
directly in the deal. You have your name is on the contract saying it's that the contract that you'll get is called the A to B contract. And that is saying I, Bobby, am going to purchase your house, B, for X amount of dollars, $300,000. Even though I know I don't have $300,000, but in that contract, it says I may assign, or what's the clause that has to be in the contract? Not to get too nitty gritty.
Yeah, so we take care of all that for you because every state's going to be different.
Yeah.
In my contract, we write buyer is an LLC in the business of buying and selling real estate for a profit. Buyer may determine to use a number of different exit strategies for this purpose, which may include, but not exclusively be, fix and flip, buy and hold, and or wholesale.
Nice.
So it just basically
Covers the whole gamut.
Covers the whole gamut because I do fix and flip, I do buy and
Right.
hold, and I do wholesale.
Yeah. So this part of the process, like in being a real estate investor, wholesaling, you could just not wholesale it. You could, if you wanted to, buy the house yourself, put in the work, and then flip it and make a bigger chunk of money. That's
Correct.
where like wholesalers are making a small amount of the potential that can come from this ugly house, and then the actual fix and flipper who's doing the work and then selling it is getting the lion's share
Right,
of it.
but they're taking a bigger risk. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're spending money.
Risk reward and like the market. And I know that okay, so back to recap. That's what wholesaling is. Step 1, find an ugly house. Step 2, contact that ugly house owner and get them to agree to sell, or no, get them
Find out if they're interested in selling. That's it.
And if they're interested, then you say, all right, I'll get back to you. Let me talk to the people that I work with. I'll give you a call back in 30 minutes. You talk to, for example, for Trent in Austin, he talks to Fred Gamble at KeyGlee. And the way he gets Fred's number is DMing Jamil on Instagram at Damji. And then he gets coached through that process by somebody with experience and says, okay, so when you talk to the seller now, you're going to say,
And Fred might just get on the phone.
Yeah, that's
I mean, that's the other part. Like if you feel if you feel uncomfortable to take it from there, we'll take it from there.
okay. What do I still get the same assignment
Yeah,
fee?
but we're not trying to. This is never about like, hey, you did this much and we did this much. It's like we just want the house.
Yeah.
We just want to get the deal done, right? A lead is a lead.
Yeah.
And so if you got somebody who's interested in selling, great. Let's talk to them.
Boom. And then you still get value out of it. That's
Yeah.
interesting. That bird dogging, is that the term for
Yeah, you could call it bird dogging.
Is that bad? Bird dogging?
Bird dogging is just it's not bad. It's just that be careful that you're not illegally brokering. That's all. Just pay attention to that.
That's I don't even know how I would be illegally brokering, but you cross that bridge when you get there.
It's connecting people not being in the deal.
Okay,
you know?
got you. So now that we've talked to Fred, you go submit your offer, or not submit. Yeah, you do submit your offer to the seller, and then you get the contract signed, and then that's not it. Now you have a contract signed, and in this case, the person who helped you is most likely your buyer, being Fred.
Yeah,
And
or he'll help you sell the contract.
Yeah.
One of the two.
so he'll find somebody who's a fix and flipper who will buy that contract from you at a reasonable amount of money over the number that you locked it up. So you
Correct.
get to keep the difference. And then how long does it take till I get that check?
Man, these deals can close anywhere from like 2 weeks to 30 days, depending on how fast the seller wants the deal done. I've done a deal where I got a hold of a homeowner and they wanted a deal done in 10 days. And so like start to finish, we got it done.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, these can really go as quickly or as slowly as the seller wants. That's the key here, right? Is that we're catering to what the seller wants because we're giving them a cash offer and it's a convenience offer. So it needs to be convenient.
Yeah.
We don't get to say, hey, we want to close in 7 days because I got bills to pay, bitch.
Right.
You know, it's not, you can't do that,
Yeah.
right? It's like, hey, when can you move? Like when's comfortable for you?
Yeah.
And then you do that.
And that's part of the value proposition when you're initially talking to them is like, you know, I can't offer you what the market might give you if
Well,
you
it's not
listed
even
it.
that. You are offering what the market could give them, but it's just for that condition.
Yeah. Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
we don't underpay people. We pay exactly what the house is worth in its condition right now. And in its condition right now, it needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
It needs me to find him. So this is the price.
Yeah.
That's it.
Boom. I think we covered what wholesaling is. I think so. If somebody's interested in this little conversation, sparked your interest, where do people go to, actually learn? I think you can learn everything you need to learn on YouTube and just by making mistakes. But my advice would be to go to local real estate meetups.
Yeah, go to your local meetups. Talk to people that are a part of my community in astro flipping. But there's so much stuff online. Like YouTube is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Beautiful place to learn. You'll learn that when you're on, if you came to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Jamil Damji, you'll find, I do a podcast every Monday night called Wholesale Hotline.
Yeah, that's
if you showed up to Wholesale Hotline on Monday night at 5 p.m. on my YouTube channel, there's going to be 1,000 people watching that show in the comments.
Yep.
Right?
I see them commenting and working together. It's great.
So they're working together. They're talking to each other, making friends, And so like it's like a massive networking event that happens in the comment section of that show every Monday night.
Yeah, for real.
It's crazy.
So Wholesale Hotline on Jamil's YouTube channel, that's a good spot. And I actually invited Frank, he's a buddy of mine that lives here, Ditch Frank. He texted me after he's seeing the stories yesterday, and I was like, dude, come hang out. He's always like, I want to invite this in-person crowd for that podcast. I think having people in person was so rad. So I invited
we're going to do it every week now.
Yeah. Next week, I think we'll be in California, but still doing the show, yeah?
Yep.
Dope. So go to YouTube to learn. Go to Wholesale Hotline every Monday. Tune into that. You can just Google Wholesale Hotline and that'll pop up. I think that's a good. And if you got any more questions, DM me and I'll try and help answer. And
stay riding, be safe, do what you like, man. Obviously you're a passionate human being if you're riding bikes.
Yeah.
If you're BMXers, the one thing that you don't lack is passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the hardest things in life is to get passionate about something.
For real.
Right. So like the fact that you have passion about something, that means that you're already fired up, that you already have your soul's already on fire about something. Now we just got to give it fuel to continue firing and being fired up for that thing. And fuel is just I need to be able to live. I got what I was so shocked about what you were telling me, the BMX world, is just that, even the companies that sponsor you guys, I mean, they don't pay you.
Yeah, and
I'm not trying to disparage any of them. It's cool. I totally understand your hustle, and I don't know your profit margins, and I don't understand why you don't pay people. But okay, whatever that is that there's still a necessity to live. You still got to eat. You still got to do normal life. Pay your bills, eat food. Yeah, you're saying that their food is covered, and but there's only a few people who go pro.
Right. Yeah.
And
it's
even
a very small amount who get paid directly from a bike company who can afford rent and living.
So very few people, but there's this many people who are probably pretty good.
They're pro,
but they don't have any. They have no sponsorship.
Right.
So that guy's going out all day and trading hours for dollars.
Yeah.
Right?
Or not even trade. Working his job. Yeah.
Right? They're just trading hours for dollars. So what they could do is go figure out how to do this for yourself.
Yeah.
Man, I couldn't have a job.
What do you think is yeah. It doesn't feel like I have a job with you, which I was about to say I couldn't have a job either, but I do have a job. You.
But it
doesn't
different.
feel like it. Yeah, it is different. And it's total chaos all the time. I love it. I couldn't sit in an office and be stuck to yeah, dude. It's not for me.
He was making a lot of money, guys, and he was like, "I'm not happy. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Come with me." He's like, "Okay."
Just sitting in one spot is death to me. I can't do it. What do you think is the most important? We'll wrap up because I know you got a call to go, and he's got to go teach his students. What do you think is the most important skill set? What is a recognizing or a characteristic that you see in the people who are successful in this business?
They're kind, and they know how to talk to people.
Boom.
Just be nice. Just be a nice person and figure out how to be normal.
Yeah.
Really the most normal, kind people are the most successful.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think that's facts. It's interesting to me because it's you only see the world through your own eyes, and so I feel confident talking to people and being kind, so that's a no-brainer for me. But it's crazy to me that some people just can't talk to people, it's just not in the cards for them. For those people who are nervous, shy, can you still do this business? And if so, how?
Yeah, maybe you're the guy who gets on the Google map and makes a list for somebody of 20 houses.
Yeah.
And then you hand that list over with phone numbers to your friend who's good at talking.
Yep.
And you team up with that person and let that person call and find out if any of them want to sell their house.
Yeah, and then you split a big fat check at the end of
Yeah.
it. So you do the grunt work of like the, behind the scenes
Well, you do
stuff.
the work that you can do. You do the work that you like doing, which is maybe casing out the spots, you know?
Exactly.
And then let the riders do the riding.
Dude, with some of you guys who have like spot lists in your phone, dude, these guys, like BMX homies have like contacts made for each location. It's just like a weird street spot or a rail or a staircase, for example. They have it organized, categorized with pictures and all this shit. And if you put that same amount of effort into finding ugly houses, you would be a millionaire in 10 years. It's kind of wild to think about.
10 years, bro.
Not even, huh?
Not even, man. I started KeyGlee 6 years ago.
Boom. When did you become a millionaire? You were a millionaire before the crash.
Before.
Yeah, you were a millionaire, brokey, back to millionaire.
Yeah. But when I got started again, like when I went full time at it to when I had $1 million, it was probably about 3 years. So when I had a million cash in the bank, it probably took me about 3 years to accumulate $1 million. And now it's like every couple months.
What are we can end it if you want, but bonus question would be, what do you think about the Silicon Valley Bank and the other one in New York happening, and the market in general right now? What do you think is happening?
I think it's just you can't really trust a lot that's happening out there right now.
Yeah.
I think that, imagine you put money in a bank and then all of a sudden the money's gone. And, can you imagine, like, a lot of those companies that had their money in Silicon Valley Bank had way more than $250,000 in their account. Yeah. And the FDIC, which is the insurance for banks, they only insure up to $250,000 per account.
Right.
So imagine you got $10 million in an account. They're like, okay, well, bank went down, but here's $250,000 bucks.
Dude.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Excuse me? You're the bank, and isn't it illegal for me not to put my money in a bank? Or like, I don't think you can hold a lot of cash. I think you've got to use financial institutions. Like, where do you put it?
Yeah.
And so I just think be careful. Don't trust everything that you read. Don't trust everything that you hear. The government's not here to save you. It's not going to save you. It hasn't saved you already. It saves companies. Like the piece that I think bugs me the most is that these companies, they get bailed out, right? Chase needs a bailout. They get billions of dollars. General Motors needs a bailout, billions of dollars. You get Silicon Valley Bank needs a bailout, billions of dollars. Okay, cool. But you get cancer. You have no health care. Government has no money for you.
Yeah. Sorry, we can't afford it. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, you can, all these people that are running Ponzi schemes on the entire public, you can bail them all out. But I get sick. I've worked my whole life. I've paid into Social Security. I've paid my taxes. I've done all the things. I vote.
Yeah.
I do all the things. I'm like, I have, American flags all over the place.
I put my shopping cart back every time.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm a good citizen. Like, I care about this country. Maybe you were in the military. What about the people that have served?
For real. Veterans
like
get
those people
too.
that have like lost limbs or their lives or their family members. Like, that's the worst, bro. Not that I have anything against serving in the military. I'm so grateful for everybody that does, because you protect our freedom. But it's shameful the way that we treat our veterans. It's shameful, dude.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's disgusting, and the way that they're just thrown away. Yeah. There's no benefits. You go stand out in front of a VA hospital, bro, and you'll cry.
I believe it.
You'll cry because it's just like, how do you treat somebody that gave so much for you and this country that way? So that's like, I mean, you just look at the evidence. You look at the way that they're treating the people who die for us. You look at the people you look at the way that they treat just regular human beings. And then you look at the way that they treat the people who pay the campaign dollars.
Yeah. Big time.
A big difference.
Yeah. So basically the lesson is don't trust what you're hearing from the government and the media, I guess. Not media, whatever.
I mean, I don't even know what media
with
you
the
can
Silicon
listen
Valley.
to,
Yeah, for real.
I have no clue. I think I get all my news from South Park.
I see. That's a legit source, dude. Yeah. They're the best, and they're still going. That's like 30 years that show's been going. All right, that's it. Jamil's got to go teach his students right now, and thanks for coming on Kanode Knows, man.
Let's go. See you later, BMXers.
Peace.
Peace.
Later, nerds. Hi, you've reached the end of the video. Thank you for watching and listening. If you would, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and leave a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you're interested in wholesaling, reach out to me on Instagram. And yeah, have a good week. Later. I'm going to go ride now.